from the tight ends, which they illustrate in this article a lot, but also the wide receivers. In particular, Corey Davis
was spectacular.
They really talk about him, just how good he was at those blocks. And here's the thing. They asked him to do blocks that it probably wouldn't make sense to ask Julio Jones to perform. Julio Jones, they say, he'll do what needs to happen. He can block. But they use Corey Davis as a weapon, as a blocker. They say that the guy that has that skill set on this team will be Reynolds. Josh Reynolds can block like that. That's one of the things why they targeted him. And so maybe they can do some of the same blocking down the field with Reynolds as they did with Davis. So it's really an interesting thing of how you skin the cat with this new group that you have, and a new offensive coordinator who, by the way, it points out, really struggled inheriting a pretty talented offense that had finished 6th in the league for the Raiders the year before he took over. Mm-hmm. And they struggled. There's a lot that probably goes into that. I don't know how relevant it is now, but it's something that they thought was noteworthy. One other thing they pointed out in this article, guys, you know what they almost never did when he was the offensive coordinator for the Raiders? They almost never used the play action, which we know was maybe as much as anything in that Titans offense last year, a huge bread and butter, right? Am I giving it to Henry or am I faking it to Henry? And when I fake it, you're in trouble. Like that was the bread and butter of the offense. So how much is that? Yeah, you would think they've got to keep that in there, right? At least.
Well, that sounded like a whole lot of bad. So I hope none of that carries over, because there was really not a whole lot good that came out of that. What are you going to tell us next? That he also shied away from running the football when he was the OC?
No, but well, we know he was there. Like he was on the staff.
He also had different.
Yeah, so it's not like he's coming in out of left field. He knows exactly what they did last year, right? So, and he was the tight ends coach, right?
Yeah, well, yes, he's on. Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Like he has a deep understanding of how they've done it before. I think that should help him a lot make the adjustment.
I mean, you got to stick with what has worked, and if you think about it, I mean, when this whole thing started, when Vrabel was hired, you know, LaFleur was only here for the year, but that was kind of laying the ground, and then Arthur Smith evolved with Tannehill, and it's going to continue to evolve. I mean, it's not going to stay the exact same because nothing can stay the exact same. But now that you've added Julio, that adds even more options to involve an Anthony Ferkser or a Josh Reynolds. I mean, you know, we haven't even brought this up, and Darren, I think I know what you're going to say, but Darrington Evans is supposed to do something at some point. I mean, he's supposed to be the guy out of the backfield. Now, we haven't seen it. We saw a flash of it. You know, so I mean, could that become an option to be that third down guy out of the backfield? You know, we've seen Derrick Henry catch a little bit, but that's not his strong suit, and never has been. So I would hope. It's like I go back to what I said earlier. I would hope that Todd Downing has all these notes from what happened with Arthur Smith and last year, but can also view the skill sets of all of these guys and draw it all together, pull it all together and draw up these plays.
Would we all agree that Arthur Smith was running the show when it comes to the offense last year? It was his baby.
Yes.
Everybody stayed away and let him do his thing.
Because you earned that right.
Todd Downing, is that going to be the case with him?
I
would think so. I would also hope so.
Those are two different answers.
I think it is from the beginning. I think the other thing that we know, at least going in as you sit there now, he's going to be holding a pretty good hand, right? We've talked a lot about coaches who maybe have failed in different places, but if you look at the hand they were dealt, they had a lot of 2s and 6s and 8s. I mean, Todd Downing is inheriting a full house. He's got the cards, and so it's just a matter of playing the cards smartly.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that he's going to until, you know, unless it just everything falls apart. But, you know, Vrabel, I would think that Vrabel has maybe learned that over the course of this offseason that you're gonna have to let these guys do their jobs. Now, be the head coach. The head coach should know everything that's going on, but I use that word know, not overly control everything that's going on. You have said that Todd Downey's the offensive coordinator. Now you're saying Shane Bowen is the defensive coordinator. Let them do their jobs.
Who else would be in on that?
But you,
Darren,
brought in.
If it's not his show, then who else would have input?
Well, I'm asking because they brought in a guy on the defensive side to help.
True.
A guy that we know very well, right?
Still don't know Jim Schwartz's role.
But
exactly.
But there's a reason he's there, right? I mean, come on. There wasn't that hire on the offensive side of the ball. True?
True.
There wasn't a Tom Moore hire in the offseason.
Right, that's why I'm asking you the question. If it's not his show, Todd Downing, then who would be anybody else that it's always a collaboration, but there's nobody sort of parallel to him or above him other than Mike Vrabel. And I don't know that Mike Vrabel's ever delved into the offensive game plan.
Well, you have to admit it's a little bit of a scary proposition for Mike Vrabel, the head coach. He's got two coordinators, and they have 1 year experience as being coordinators in the NFL. Well, I guess I'm being technical. I guess he would say that Shane Bowen was, but he wasn't really the defensive coordinator. I'm saying this year now he's got all. So you've got 1 year of experience from two coordinators.
I think what you're going to see is
isn't that a little bit? I mean, that's a little nerve-wracking, is it not?
Sure, of course it is. But now you're going to see just how good are the players on this offense, especially. Defense is still going to have question marks, but if everything works the way that we're all hoping and thinking that it's going to work, that Julio Jones can still be an elite receiver, that A.J. Brown continues to develop into an elite receiver, that Derrick Henry is still an elite running back, and Ryan Tannehill continues to play as well as he has and bring it all together, plus the complementary pieces, then you're essentially asking Todd Downing to roll the ball out and not screw it up.
I understand that.
But you know what? It's a good question because it does go beyond rolling the ball out.
And I don't believe that. Exactly. I agree.
Because there are key questions that we've hit on today. How much do you want to reduce Derrick Henry's workload? Right? Just at the stage he is of his career, the number of times they used him last year, is that philosophically what you want to do? Get that number down, I don't know, 50, 75 carries, somewhere in there, which Trent Dilfer did, right? Trent Dilfer came on our show and he said if he were the offensive coordinator, he might think that's a smart idea, right? Because you can't just carry the ball 370 times every year. You know you can't. You're going to have a diminishing returns on that. So that's part of it. And to do that, does that mean you're using less tight ends than before, especially because you lost Jonnu Smith? And now you have Julio Jones. So now all those things, right, line up to say they're going to have to go about it a little different. You know, it's not just turn the key over to the new offensive coordinator and run last year's offense.
Yeah.
Right? Because if all those things are true, you want to reduce Henry's workload. You don't have Jonnu Smith, so maybe you're playing less two tight ends, and you've added a Hall of Fame wide receiver. That and those three things lend itself to this is going to be a slightly different offense.
I just think that it is going to be a lot of people, and maybe it's people outside of the market. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to look at this offense and say, well, you know, heck, you could get anybody to do this, right? You just like you said, roll the ball out. Look at that offense. I mean, you got Julio Jones, you got Derrick Henry, you got A.J. Brown, you got Ryan Tannehill. Give me a break. Like nobody could mess this up. And I don't agree with that. Like, I don't think Arthur Smith gets enough credit for what he did. I kind of feel like Matt LaFleur's, it didn't look like this. It was different, but I know you can easily say he had Mariota and the other one had Tannehill. I get that. But if that's the case, so now you've even upgraded and brought in a Hall of Fame receiver to go along with already what was there. So you've upgraded. If that's the case, and you believe that anybody could get out there and, you know, has any experience whatsoever in the coaching world, and you could just roll the ball out there and have the same success and be really, then that has to happen. And I'm just not so sure it's as well. I just don't believe that. I don't believe this is a roll the ball out coaching position just because you've got all these weapons. Like, I think Arthur Smith does deserve more credit. Like, I thought he was excellent at what he did. And part of it is, I think he's extremely intelligent. And a lot of it is deception. A lot of it is knowing when to call the right call, right? I just don't think he gets enough credit for that. And you could say, well, he got a head coaching job, so somebody gave him credit. Okay, I understand that. But I just don't – I think it's going to be real easy for people to be like, there's no worries there. Anybody could go there and keep that train rolling down the tracks. Don't you agree? Don't you think that's how a lot of people will think?
Well, and I mean, it goes to what I was saying, but what you just said is a very, very valid point. Arthur Smith deserves a ton of credit. And he took basically the sketch that Matt LaFleur started before he left, because he was only here for a year, and he got a better quarterback. Sorry, Mariota fans. But and
he was taking some heat while Mariota was still quarterbacking. Right,
yeah.
It didn't look a whole lot different.
It didn't look good
than the year before, where statistically they were not a great offense. In the year that LaFleur was there, they had all kinds of issues. Now, he was not dealt the hand that Todd Downing is getting.
Correct.
Right, they had all kinds of receiver issues, and who in the heck is going to catch the ball? All of that, and Derrick Henry still hadn't become Derrick Henry yet. They had the resurgence at the end of the season where he started, ripping off these huge games late. But Arthur Smith was under a lot of scrutiny when they were 4-6, right? And they made the change. It was kind of like, is this guy the right guy? Anytime you're really not established as a coordinator, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt if there are struggles, and that's what they have to be prepared for. If there are some struggles, there are going to be some natural. Well, what's going on? How come they're not rolling up 30, 35 points every week?
Yeah, let's sneak in one call before we take our final break. Brian wants to weigh in on the discussion on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What's up?
Yeah, I've been a Titans fan for many, many years. Love the show. I was just thinking back, I'm ecstatic kind of that we got Julio Jones, but it reminds me a little bit about another wide receiver everybody got excited about in the name of Randy Moss from New England some years back, and we saw how he performed when he came. I.e., it's kind of a similar situation. So I'm just saying, I'm kind of hesitant to be like, yay, Julio Jones at this point. Just a thought. I want to hear y'all's thought on it, and thanks for letting me
go. Yeah, thanks for the call. We'll do that on the other side.
Who is the OC?
Well, we'll do that on the other side. We'll come back and wrap up Monday's edition of Darren, Daunic, and Chase next.
Take us wherever you may go. There are two guys on my untouchable list. Shoot us in anywhere, anytime. Every team's got those. That's my point. Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN.
Are rocking and rolling. Joe Rexford here inviting you to Hoops Heaven, betting all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's getting intense out there, folks. What is happening with the Brooklyn Nets? So many exciting matchups. We're getting down close to the finals. FanDuel's taking the excitement to another level because new and existing users can bet risk-free for the playoffs. New users, you can get up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. If you have an account, you can bet a same-game parlay risk-free every week. Same-game parlay allows you to combine multiple bets for an even bigger win. Moneyline, point spread, different player props like rebounds, assists, first basket score, so many combinations. And if you don't win, you get up to $10 back. So basketball fans, now's the perfect time. Give FanDuel a shot. Sign up with promo code Joe102. Bet the NBA playoffs risk-free exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Risk-free bet for first online real money wager only, and refund issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Same-game parlay refund issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same-game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis. Hot and humid one more time here for your Monday. High temperature of 91 degrees. Humidity and the heat die down going into Tuesday and Wednesday. No rain in the forecast for the upcoming weekend.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face truck today.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
Genesis Diamonds is celebrating the summer of 2021 with an offer that everyone's loving right now. 5 years, zero interest financing with zero down on anything and everything. Upgrade your diamond, and you can spread the payments over 5 years with zero interest. Treat yourself to that designer necklace or those diamond earrings you've had your eyes on. It's easy with this spectacular offer, and everything's included, even all our GIA certified diamonds. Pick any item, divide the price by 60, and that's your monthly payment. No down payment is required. You can even finance the sales tax. People are driving for hours to take advantage of this. Imagine a $12,000 designer engagement ring or diamond tennis bracelet, just $200 a month. It's the smartest and definitely the most cost-effective way to treat your special someone or even yourself. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. 5 years, zero interest financing with nothing down, now for a limited time. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Unapproved credit.
Who in Nashville these days doesn't have a dog or doesn't have a friend or family member with one? The answer is obvious. The real question is whether you've heard about this new, incredible Nashville-based company called the Modern Dog Company. The Modern Dog Company should be every Nashville resident's first go-to when shopping for the best leashes, harnesses, collars, and more for their dogs. Check out themoderndogcompany.com to support this local Nashville company. The Modern Dog Company, one company for all dogs.
Tune in every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. for Nashville's own Jason Fitz with Jarrett Stillman Company. Fitz started his sports talk career right here on 102.5 The Game, and now he anchors shows for ESPN. Jason Fitz is brought to you by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, give life.
This is Carl Sholin, St. Andrew Sewanee School Head of School. At SAS, teachers and students learn, live, and play in an atmosphere of trust and high expectations. Learn more about fall admission at sasweb.org.
Jared Stillman.
I mean, I'm serious. Who's going to be the quarterback of the Patriots? You cannot tell me it's going to be Cam.
And company.
Do I think that he had a really, really tough job following the GOAT? Yes, 100% I think he did.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
All right, we're asking you to do two things on our text line. One, text in with your name, your greatest sports feat, whatever it was, your greatest sports accomplishment. Text those in. A chance to win and be out at Ford Ice Center in Bellevue with us tomorrow. Keep those stories coming in. The other one is you're going to text in the keyword right now because we've teamed up with T-Mobile to give you a chance to experience a Nashville SC game this season. Remember, keep that in mind. Every Monday we do this. And though we'll give you a keyword. You text in on our text line, 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And you got a chance to win a pair of tickets to see a Nashville SC game. And all you have to do right now is text in the word pitch. Pitch. P-I-T-C-H. Good luck from us at ESPN 102.5 The Game, T-Mobile, and Nashville SC. Also, if you're looking for a place to listen to Vegas and Montreal Game 1 tonight, this is your place on 94.9. 7:30 tonight, Game 1, Vegas and Montreal. 94.9 will be your home. Okay, so we had a phone call of not a temper. He's tempering the excitement of Julio Jones because maybe he said he got really excited with Randy Moss, and we all know how that played out. We have talked about this. We've talked about that comparison. I guess it's how you feel they are in their careers. Randy Moss
it's a bad comparison.
Yeah, Randy Moss was literally at the end of his career, and
he was a waiver claim.
I do not. But now you may believe Julio Jones is at the end of his career. I do not. I'm nowhere near there and not willing to go there at all. I'll have to see it play out for me to believe it.
And there's not much of a difference in the age. That is true, right? I think Moss was 33. Is that right?
I don't remember how old he was when he was here.
I can pull that up real quick. I just think it's a bad comparison because one, Randy was a waiver claim. He had already been on 2 teams that year in New England and then was traded to Minnesota. He was claimed off waivers from Minnesota. You hoped he would be something, but the expectations to me, at least from what I remember, weren't very high because you're getting this dude for nothing off waivers. They were releasing him. So
he was 33.
33,
okay.
Yep.
I don't know. It just feels completely different. And I get it. Randy Moss is a Hall of Fame receiver as well, but it just feels completely different.
Moss the year before at 32, the age that Julio Jones is going to be this year, he had 1,200 yards for New England. Good, solid season.
13 TDs.
13 touchdowns, which led the league. But then the following year, I don't recall all the circumstances. It didn't go very well. New England to Minnesota. Minnesota waives him, and that was it, right? He did play the following year for San Francisco, but
no, he took a year off.
That's right. He took a year off.
He came back at 35.
He retired and then came out of retirement. But you're right. So we're talking about the end here.
I would say
so age-wise, only 1 year difference. But
the quarterback situation might have been a little bit different too in 2010. Just saying.
Yeah.
I think Rusty Smith was throwing to Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Well, by the time he got in there,
was it
remember
Jay
that was
and Rusty
the year,
Smith?
No, it was the year that Vince Young melted down. Right, Kerry Collins got hurt, and Vince Young melted down.
That was the melt. Oh,
that was the throw the helmet into the stands.
That was shoulder pads against the Washington here.
Yeah.
Because that was Fisher's last year. Heimerdinger was the OC.
That's right. Okay. So
Vince, it was a train.
Kerry Collins and then Rusty Smith. Okay. Yeah, a little bit different.
So again, we go back to the hand that was dealt.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Moss was a shadow of what he had been the year before already. It was sort of proven. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been on the waiver wire. Plus, the Titans had all kinds of offensive issues when he got there.
Yep. It is closing time. That will do it for our show today. Enjoy this beautiful Monday here in Middle Tennessee. Continue to be safe. We want you back with us tomorrow morning.